You know, one of my favorite consoles to collect for is this guy right here, the Nintendo GameCube. And while, yeah, it's got a reputation for being an expensive console to collect for, I mean, that's 125 bucks right there. That doesn't change the fact that it's a brilliant console. And one of the things I think a lot of people overlook is the fact that there are a ton of games I like to call killer filler. Games that are amazing titles that are not going to break the bank that a lot of folks might overlook when you're going to a convention or a used game store. What's going on, everybody? I'm Jay. Welcome to Square Pegs, and today we are talking about those killer filler games on the Nintendo GameCube. Now, I don't want you to just take my word for it. I'm nobody in the grand scheme of things. What I've done is I have assembled a fantastic all-star cast of fellow YouTube creators, and we are going to give you a baker's dozen worth of games that are worth picking up. One of the ways I wanted to do this video is I wanted to let my fellow creators kind of set the benchmark for what the prices were going to be. When I saw what they brought in, it was a range of $10 to $35, so that kind of set my demarcation of where I was going to be able to put games. And I've got two here that I think everyone should pick up. First is Star Wars Rogue Leader Rogue Squadron 2.
Coming in at around $16, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader is a signature gameplay experience on the GameCube for me. Now, if you're looking for multiplayer, this is not the way to go because it is a single-player experience, but if you are a Star Wars fan, you need this game in your life. It has some of the best space combat and vehicle combat ever made for a Star Wars title. Now, this is up there as far as I'm concerned with things like X-Wing vs. TIE Fighter, Star Wars Squadrons, any of the other Rogue Squadron games. I think this game is just absolutely brilliant. It still looks incredible to this day. It is one of the best looking titles released on the GameCube, and it is one of my absolute favorites.
Alright, so that's Rogue Leader, Rogue Squadron 2. Well, we're going to toss it over to my all-star panel now. We're going to start with a little dose of Southern hospitality. Let's go to the Arkansas Picker.
Well, hello everybody, Tsusasi W here, your Arkansas Picker, and Mr. J, the only square peg that I know, he asked me to pick a GameCube game that I love and maybe just got overlooked, something not too pricey. The game that I picked, my essential GameCube game that I think everyone should have, is Sims Bustin' Out. The Sims Bustin' Out is a game that hit me in a time in my life when I was doing the exact same thing that was happening in the game. In the game, you're busting out. You're busting out your parents' house and you're moving into your own house. You got to get a job. You got to learn how to manage your finances. At the time that I played this game, I was doing the same thing. I was living with my buddy Mitchell. Me and Mitchell played this game two-player. Me and Mitchell worked at the same place. We would go to work, come home, and not only just live together, but we'd also live together in the game. Like, we played two-player Sims Bustin' Out. Needless to say, we got tired of each other pretty fast. I couldn't even escape him on the GameCube. You can pick this game up for like $12 easy. Get it, get you a buddy that hopefully you don't live with. Try it out. Sims Bustin' Out.
Thanks, Picker. Appreciate you being part of the video. Now let's go over to my friend and yours. He is a retro believer. He is a true one-of-a-kind gent. It's time for Retro Rob.
Hey Jay, thanks for having me on your channel, and you know, as a fan, I always get so, like, I still get excited, man. I say it in every people's video who have me on their videos. People are probably tired of hearing me gushing, but dude, I'll never tire of this feeling. But yeah, so the question was asked, what's a GameCube game that you may overlook or might look past at like a convention or expo, or maybe you're out thrifting or looking for the next game. And I think for me, for the GameCube, I picked Star Wars Bounty Hunter. I think it's an excellent game. It's not too expensive. I'm pretty sure I got this complete for $15, manual and everything. And, you know, the story is Jango Fett looking for an escaped Dark Jedi. That's your bounty. Of course, you're going to come across some other creatures and other enemies in the game that you're going to have to dispose of. There's some great mechanics as far as platform jumping, utilizing the jetpack. I think the shooting mechanics are excellent. Yeah, you're going to be tracking down baddies all the way across from Coruscant to Tatooine in this one, and I think it's a pretty good story from the Star Wars storyline. And if, like I said, if you can see this when you're out, do not pass this up. This is like a cheap grab. It's a fun grab. It's definitely worth your time. Man, Jay, thanks for having me on your channel as always. Everyone, thanks for watching. Make sure you sub to Jay's channel, and I'll hopefully see you all in the next video.
You know, I think when you're doing a video like this, you need to make sure that you have experts on your panel, and I can't think of anyone better than Travis, the author of Project Dolphin Volumes 1 and 2. Now, this guy is an absolute encyclopedia of knowledge when it comes to the GameCube, and he's giving us 2 games for the price of 1.
Hi guys, Travis here, author of the Project Dolphin History of the GameCube book series. With the increase in the price of GameCube games, the need for quality, affordable games is greater than ever. So today I bring you 2 games for the price of 1. Pac-Man vs. Pac-Man World 2 Combo Pack is a great title to pick up when you're browsing your local retro shop or at conventions, and still sells for about $20 complete. While the original game gets all the love, Pac-Man World 2 is still no slouch and even sold well enough to earn a Player's Choice re-release. The game features 25 platforming levels and has plenty of unlockables such as the arcade ports of the original Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man. With all those features, you still have a whole nother game of Pac-Man Versus, which was originally designed by Shigeru Miyamoto himself. With the Game Boy Advance and a link cable, you get to play as Pac-Man while your friends get to play on the TV as the ghosts chasing you down. And if one of the ghosts wins, they get to become the next Pac-Man. This is a great, unique experience that wasn't available anywhere else at the time, and still a lot of fun to play today. Back to you, Jay.
Happy to toss it over now to one of my absolute best friends. This is Gary from RoXolid Productions.
This is NASCAR Dirt to Daytona, one of the best racing games ever made. So one of the things I love about this game is the fact, first and foremost, you have so many different ways that you can race. You can race in the Cup Series, the Truck Series, the Whelen Modified Series, and Dirt Oval. We're going to do Dirt Oval really quick because it's so good. So you actually have the option, too, of going in and tuning your car so you can adjust the weight, the shocks, springs, the air pressure on the tires. So after a very poor qualifying attempt where I actually hit the apron going through 1 and 2 and spun her out, we are tail end Charlie in heat race number 2. So let's see if we can't get ourselves into an automatic transfer position into the A-main. White flag is out. This is the final lap. 15.9, fastest lap to date on this run. 1.3 seconds. Don't think we're going to quite get the lead, but you know what? We're going to have a much better starting position in the A-main. This is NASCAR Dirt to Daytona it's actually on the Xbox, the PlayStation 2, and on the Nintendo GameCube. I think the GameCube controller is a great way to play this. The triggers feel great. The analog sticks are great. Jay is great. Jay, who's next?
Now, I met our next panelist last year at Southeast Game Exchange, and we were on a panel together talking about our favorite Sega RPGs across the entire console generation of Sega products. And leave it to G to pick a Sega game for a Nintendo console.
So when talking about killer filler titles for the GameCube, and of course I'm going to pick something Sega, right? Because that's just what I do, right? So there's a lot to choose from, but I decided to go with something that's a little bit close to my home plate. This is Home Run King, which is Sega's officially licensed baseball game for the Nintendo GameCube that's loosely based off of one of their arcade games, World Series Baseball 99, which is one of my personal favorite arcade games of all time. And it's so easy to pick up and play. It's exactly what you would expect from a retro arcade-style baseball game, only with that GameCube coat of paint, that sheen that you come to love from games of that generation, right? It has the same pitching mechanics as in the arcade, whereas every pitcher has a different set of types of pitches, and you choose a direction with the analog stick or the joystick in the arcade, and that's how you select your pitch. And depending on how often you use that pitch and how often it actually makes contact, you get less amount of impact on it. So there's a little bit of simulation to it as well. And batting is super easy too. You just aim. Now there's a little bit of mechanics because you have to get used to the fact that you do have to aim using your analog stick. You have to aim the reticle at the pitch in order to hit it. But once you get used to it, it's a lot of fun. It doesn't quite have the same sort of swing mechanics like the metal analog stick that's in the arcade, but it looks almost exactly like it. It feels great. It looks great. And again, it's just a lot of fun. It's just, have a go, have a couple of innings, whether it be 3, 5, or 9, and just have a great time. I love this game. And heck, they even got Jeff Bagwell's stance right. And, as an Astros fan, if a baseball game gets his stance right, his squatty stance, they're doing right. And honestly, there really aren't that many GameCube baseball games. At least I don't think so anyway. So this one stands out above the crowd, and it's less than $10. Seriously, this game is less than $10 now. And so I highly, highly recommend Home Run King. I can definitely say that Sega knocked it out of the park with this one.
All right, let's go to another Midwest creator now, a good friend of the channel, someone that I absolutely enjoy talking to and love being able to meet at the Midwest Gaming Classic last year. Over now to Tsusasi from Geeks by the Creek.
Good Good day, my beautiful nerd nation. Tsusasi from Geeks by the Creek here, and I just wanted to take a moment to thank Jay for having me on board because the GameCube is one of my all-time favorite systems, and I had a lot of fun making this video. My killer filler pick for the GameCube is one of the more ambitious third-person shooters on the system, and that is Metal Arms, a glitch in the system. Metal Arms was the first and only release from Swingin' Ape Studios, former Midway employees who left the company after completing the awesome arcade racer Hydro Thunder. It's a third-person shooter with a fun, if basic, story of sentient robots gone bad and the rebel bot set on overthrowing the evil robot dictator. You are Glitch, a rescued, rebel-recruited bot tasked with freeing the worker bots from the despot's reign. And you are certainly up to the task at hand. Armed? This is where the game gets its title. You can equip both arms with a variety of weapons. Each are assigned to a shoulder button. There are 17 weapons you can acquire, as well as vehicles and gun emplacements throughout the levels. And best of all, you have the ability to hijack other robots and vehicles using the tether. You can take control and compel them to do your bidding. And that's the biggest gameplay hook that sets it apart from other shooters. The bots are hilariously animated and voiced, and the AI creates delightful chaos as bots respond to attacks in a variety of slapstick manners. You can blast off parts, limbs, heads, or shatter them completely as they scream with their dying breath. Depending on how they are hit, they may stagger around and fire blindly and wildly, or fall into a pile of parts. There are 7 multiplayer modes, and they range from standard combat fare to fun twists. But the star of the show is possession mode. You must find and jack other robots positioned in the arena, either using tethers or recruiter grenades. There are 5 unlocked maps, and 9 more to unlock by collecting circuits in the campaign mode. The script is well written, and the humor, while crass, foul-mouthed and on the nose, hits. For me, this is a no-brainer. The game plays well in all modes. There's a wide variety of content. There's even a robust multiplayer mode, and it's all wrapped up in a slick package with impeccable audio and voiceover work. Honestly, don't miss out on this sleeper hit on the GameCube. It's just a lot of fun. Back to you, Jay.
You guys know I'm a sucker for licensed games, and our next panelist, Galactoid, is going to be talking about a game that is a smash hit.
Hey everyone, Brian from Galactoid here. And I want to talk to you about Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. I think a lot of people might pass on this game because it's a licensed game. And as we know, licensed games are usually mid to poor quality. However, this one is incredible quality. Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, or iHUD as I call it, is actually one of 2 Hulk games on the GameCube. Both are by the same developer. The other one is called simply Hulk. I've never played that one, but it's a tie-in with the movie from the same year. iHUD was originally... I'm just kidding, I never call it iHUD. Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction was originally conceived as a sequel to that game, but eventually released as a standalone title based off of the comics. And it's an extremely fun superhero game. This is basically everything you would ever want in an Incredible Hulk game. You can smash. You can bash. You can thump. You can jump. I'm pretty sure this game comes with a story, but
it doesn't matter.
You buy and upgrade tons of new moves. You collect Hulk comic book covers. And of course, there's boss fights with all of your favorite Hulk villains. But the best thing about this game is you get to cause ultimate destruction and have a blast doing it. This is really one of my favorites from the GameCube era, and it's not one I hear many people talking about. I checked recently on eBay, and copies of this game go for about $20 to $30-ish, so it's still a real affordable pickup. I want to say thanks to Jay for having me on, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Now, while he is one of the foremost experts on the Sega Master System, do not overlook the fact that Tiger Chainsaw has a hell of a collection and is an encyclopedia of video game knowledge.
What's up, ballers, shot callers, and fellow square pegs? I was asked by my buddy Jay to select a GameCube game that I feel is pretty underrated and for a reasonable price. So I'm going with Super Monkey Ball 2. Sure, I could discuss how cool Super Monkey Ball 2 is in single player mode. You're going to have tons of action on there, and you're really going to have to be good with the controller to maneuver the little monkey ball around on all the courses. But that's not why I'm picking this game. Super Monkey Ball 2 is low-key one of the best party games on the GameCube because of Monkey Ball Bowling. I can't tell you how many memories I have playing this game with my wife, and I really hope she doesn't hear this, but this is one of the 3 games that she absolutely kicks my butt on. Super Monkey Ball Bowling is such a blast, because these lanes that you're going to bowl on are anything but normal. Sometimes they'll have waves, sometimes they'll curve, and sometimes there's jumps. You have to take all of that into account while trying to perfect the spin and positioning of the little monkey ball. This minigame alone is worth the price of Super Monkey Ball 2. It's really not that expensive. You can find it between $20 and $25. But once you try out Super Monkey Ball Bowling, you're not even going to touch the single player mode. This is so addicting, and it's so much fun to bust out with your friends and family when they come out on the weekends. So next time you need a party game on the GameCube, Super Monkey Ball has you covered. Thanks for having me on, Jay. Name the time and place, and we can have a match in Super Monkey Ball 2 Bowling.
All right, over now to my friend Chris from the GameDad Show.
Hey, what's up everyone? GameDad here, and my killer filler has got to be Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. Now, this is a new one to the collection for me, but after seeing Jay do a video on it a while back, I just knew that I had to get this game, and I was hunting for it for quite a while, and eventually ended up finding it. And I gotta say, the game is fantastic. It is not expensive if you can find it. It's not very common to see it, but it is a very inexpensive game, and it is just 3D platforming at its finest. It is a fantastic 3D platformer. They definitely have some collectathon kind of stuff going on in it, and it is just a good time overall. The story is super fun, the characters are fun, the dialogue is just deliciously cheesy at times, and it has actually surprisingly great graphics for what it is. Level design is excellent, and gameplay is very straightforward. It is a super fun game. So if you are interested in some killer filler on the GameCube, definitely go with Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. And thanks, Jay, for having me on your video, bud.
One of the most underrated creators here on YouTube. This is John from Biddy Kong's Quest. If you like documentary style stuff, check his channel out. But first, take a look at the game he's suggesting.
Hey there folks, John here from Biddy Kong's Quest, and you'll have to forgive me, I'm getting over a cold so my voice is a little bit scratchy, but when Jay asked me for some killer filler for the GameCube, it was pretty obvious to me which one I was going to choose. Everybody should be familiar with Wave Race for the N64, and obviously this is a GameCube video, not an N64 video, but what a lot of people don't know is that there was actually a GameCube sequel to Wave Race called Wave Race Blue Storm. And it includes a lot of the really fun stuff from the original, plus some extra modes, some time attack stuff. It's even got a stunt mode, and honestly, it's just a really, really well-polished package. It wasn't super well received when it first came out. I think people saw it as kind of derivative and kind of a rehash of the N64 version. But to me, I really liked just having a modern Wave Race that had better graphics and just really was smoother to play and just was kind of spruced up a little bit. And honestly, it's really, really cheap. You can usually come across it for 15-20 bucks on the GameCube even today when GameCube prices are just through the roof, and it's honestly a super awesome, super fun time to play. So that's my recommendation for killer filler for the GameCube, and I highly recommend it. So there you go.
And we had Travis on earlier from Project Dolphin. Now, we kind of have to close our panelists out with another GameCube expert, and this guy is legitimately the best GameCube channel on YouTube. Take it away, Marcello from GameCube Galaxy.
Hey everyone, Marcello here from GameCube Galaxy, and my good buddy Jay over at SquarePegs asked me, what is a GameCube game that I feel should be in basically anyone's library when you're looking for certain games at a con or at a retro game store? The game you guys have to have in your library is Go-Go Hyper Grind, is what I'd be saying if it was November of 2014. Because this used to sell for $5 back then. Unfortunately, this is now a $500 game, so I'm not going to tell you guys to go spend that kind of money as great of a game as it is. So, Instead, I'm going to pick a different extreme sports game. This is one that is very near and dear to me, and that is SSX3. SSX3 is the pinnacle entertainment when it comes to snowboarding gaming. This is a game that truly excels at everything it sets out to do, between its phenomenal visual presentation to the living, breathing mountain that you're actually snowboarding down across 3 different peaks, to DJ Atomica that brings this sense of real-world feel to the mountain while you traverse it, to the phenomenal events, to the crazy, awesome, and addictive gameplay loop. SSX3 is absolutely a masterpiece through and through, and the crazy part is that this game is still a game you can get for well under $20. And if you're looking for any over-the-top extreme snowboarding action, SSX3 really is a game that I can never recommend enough to anybody. This is a game that I've put hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, of hours into over the last 20 years, and I still continue to do so. It's a true testament to phenomenal game design. Anyway, Jay, thanks for letting me take part on this list. So far, it's been awesome. Let's continue seeing what everybody else's picks are.
There's my panelist suggestions. You saw mine at the start with Rogue Leader, Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2. I'm gonna give you one more. One that has not been suggested yet, and one that I think is a must-own for everyone who has a GameCube. Soul Calibur 2.
Now, while there were some absolutely fantastic fighting games released on the Nintendo GameCube, I don't think any come close to Soul Calibur 2. First off, I mean, you can play as Link, that's amazing, and every version of Soul Calibur 2 is great, whether it's on the GameCube, the Xbox, or the PlayStation 2, but the GameCube is my preferred version, mainly because I think the controller rules. The gameplay is spectacular, the look of the game is incredible, the soundtrack is magnificent, the story exists. It's a really, really solid game though, and I don't know of anyone who has ever played it that does not like it, because it's a perfect blend of classic arena fighter with a brilliant coat of paint on it that just works in every way you look at it. It is a little bit pricier. It's going for about $32, $33 right now, but I think it's well worth it just because of the quality of title that you're going to get from Soul Calibur 2.
There you have it, my friends, a baker's dozen of fantastic GameCube killer filler titles that you should be adding to your collection. Now, I call them killer filler because these are games that a lot of people may overlook when you're out hunting for titles. Now, stuff like Soul Calibur, yeah, most people are probably going to be picking that up, but at the same time, a lot of folks go for big-ticket items like Ribbit King, Go-Go Hyper Grind, Paper Mario The Thousand Year Door, stuff like that. Don't overlook the cheaper titles because they are going to build out your collection and make for some fantastic gameplay options. And there's a ton more I could have suggested as well. Any of the Beautiful Joe games, Teen Titans, Tales of Symphonia, that's just in the T's, U's, and V's. There's so many fantastic titles out there. Be sure to be checking things out. Thank you so much to all my panelists for taking part in today's video. Links to all their channels will be down in the description below. I do invite you to check them out. They're all brilliant creators, all fantastic people. If you enjoyed today's video, click that thumbs up button down below. The engagement really helps the channel out. If you really dug the work, consider subscribing if you're new here. And if you want to be a supporter of the channel, you can do so by either clicking the join button down below or clicking on the Patreon link in the description. Till next time, folks, I've been Jay. I appreciate you spending a little bit of time with me. Till next time, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. I'll talk to you soon.